Hey guys, and welcome back to the Man channel. Today I'm going to be going over two of the most popular selling pistols out there on the market, and that is the Glock versus the Smith & Wesson. Now maybe you're in the market to get another pistol, a carry pistol, a range pistol, and you come down to either the Glock or the Smith & Wesson, and you just can't decide which one is better, which one would suit you better. And this video is going to be more geared toward comparing and contrasting the two. What do you get with one? What do you get with the other? Which one do I think is better? Which one do I think would suit you better? That's that sort of thing. So, let's just go ahead and get right into it. I'm going to say this multiple times throughout the video. Both manufacturers, the Glock and the Smith & Wesson, are great choices, guys. No matter which one you go with, you can't go wrong. They both have, an amazing track record for their reliability, their durability, and that sort of thing. So, me personally, I'm going to say it right now, I am a Glock guy. My first gun was a Glock, was actually this one right here, the 17. The 19 has been my carry pistol for years and years and years and years. And up until recently, I just picked up this 9C here as my new carry pistol, and I'll go over that in a little bit and why I chose that one. But when you go to the gun store and you pick up these two pistols, some of the differences or some of the things you'll notice right away is you'll notice, Glock is very, very boxy here. You can tell, just by looking at it, it's pretty plain Jane. There's no fancy cuts here or anything like that. It's just pretty much a block of steel they took and they milled out, some serrations here. That's about it. When you pick up the Smith & Wesson, on the other hand, and this goes for the full-size models as well, you'll notice, a lot of detail. You're going to notice, you have this milled out section here. You're going to have this little milled out, bevel type deal here on the front. And you're going to notice these corners have been rounded off. You're going to notice the serrations on here are, are more in detail. Now, personally, I feel Smith & Wesson has the advantage here on the slide. I think it, aesthetically it looks much nicer than the Glock. Just the time they took into it. The serrations are probably the biggest thing for me right here. Is the serrations are very grippy. It's easy to get a grip on it, but not so grippy to where it's gonna snag clothing. Okay, so on the slide aspect, I'd say the Smith & Wesson's probably a little bit better. Another thing you'll notice when you pick up the Glock, both of these have aftermarket sights on them, but the factory sights you get with the Glock are plastic. You have a U dot in the back and a regular dot in the front. That might be something you don't really like, is the plastic sights. I know everybody who gets a Glock, the first thing they do is they change out the sights. They don't like plastic sights. And with Smith & Wesson, you get steel sights. These are steel 3 dots. They're not night sights, but they are 3 dot and they are steel. Another thing I like that Smith & Wesson did compared to the Glock is right here. You see how they push that, push the rear sight to the, rear of the slide. They're maximizing your sight radius on your pistol. Whereas the Glock, you'll get plastic sights, and right here is usually about where they stop. They're not pushed back. They're not maximizing the distance, your sight radius. So that might be another thing, you want to look at. One of the big things, the big differences between the two pistols, which will probably be the deciding factor for most people, will be the grip and the grip angle. So, we'll start here at the Smith & Wesson. Smith & Wesson, from what I know, has spent lots of money and lots of time designing their grip. you know, studying the human hand and how it fits in the human hand. So when you pick up a Smith & Wesson, you're going to be hard pressed not to say that it is a very comfortable feel. And I said the same thing. I wish I had a full size here to compare with the full size 17, but the grip on the full size Smith & Wesson to me feels, you know, amazing, just amazing. Now, when compared to the Glock, you'll notice they have a steeper grip angle here compared to the Smith & Wesson. The Smith & Wessons are more geared towards the 1911 style grip angle. You'll notice that it is a steeper grip angle here on the Glock, and you'll also notice that instead of this hump here, you know, where the Smith & Wesson has the hump more towards the middle, Glock has theirs down here at the bottom, you know. So the 17 and the 19 both fit me perfectly. I like it. The steeper grip angle, to me, I think kind of forces you, when you get your grip, kind of forces you to, you know, get that grip at a angle to where, you know, the gun locks in better and it's you can handle the recoil better. That, to me, that's just what I think the steeper grip angle on the Glock is. Now, the 17 and the 19 is going to have two completely different feels because of that hump we're talking about. See, on the 17, it's down here, so in the hand, where that hump will hit will be right down here towards the bottom, whereas the 19, if you were to pick the 19 up, that hump will sit a little bit higher. Now this, the 19 will probably be more comfortable to most in the hands compared to the 17, but to me the 17, the 19, they both feel great. And as well as the Smith & Wessons, you know, the full-size pistol, you know, it's usually going to hit you in the same spot. It just feels great no matter which one you go with. The full-size or the compact, you know, they have just an amazing feel. Another thing that you'll notice will be, well, the first thing, if you ever dry fire, if the shop even allows you to dry fire, you're going to notice between the Glock and the Smith & Wesson that the Smith & Wesson's trigger leaves something to be desired, I guess. I mean, the trigger is not that great. The newer models, like the one I have here, the trigger has been improved, but the reset is almost non-existent. The pull is gritty. There's all these have been safety checked. The pull is gritty. Like, you can just feel and hear the grittiness on the Smith & Wesson's trigger. It is pretty terrible. I'm not gonna lie, it is pretty terrible. The Glock, on the other hand, the trigger, while not being the greatest, is still really good. You get a nice positive and tactile reset. So you can hear it and you can feel the reset, and the trigger pull is roughly about 5.5 pounds. The crispness on the Glocks are, you know, are much better than the Smith & Wessons. So in that aspect, I will have to give the trigger to the Glock, just because of course you can get, you know, the Apex trigger, or, you know, you can go get yourself a Zev trigger for the Glock, you know, and make the triggers better. But out of the box, right away, the trigger goes to the Glock. Accessories, you know, these guns have been around long enough to where a lot of manufacturers are making accessories for both. I would have to say there's probably more accessories out there for the Glock than there are the Smith & Wesson, just because of the Glock's popularity and how many people own them. So in this accessory department, you know, Glock gets the win for that. You know, if you're looking for another thing on top of the accessories is availability. And I got the Smith & Wesson and I'm having a very hard time looking for accessories for it online, opposed to the Glock, where I type in, you know, Glock accessories on eBay and I get, you know, 300 pages versus like 6 pages for the, you know, M&P. So accessory department, that might be something to think about. The Glock will have the advantage in that. The real difference between the two is when you get down to the subcompact level. Now I'm gonna take this out of frame. We're gonna focus mostly on, now I wish I had a 26 to compare. We'll just assume, you know, for this video purposes, that this is the Glock 26. And that right here is where it's going to get into the biggest differences, is going to be between the Glock 26 and the Smith & Wesson 9C. Excuse me. When you get the Glock 26, the hump will be even higher. The hump will sit right about here in the hand. It'll hit you right here, which will feel, you know, pretty good to most. Your pinky will hang off the bottom. You can get extensions, you know, for your pinky rest, but if you do that, you're at the same grip angle as the 19. So for this purpose, I'm going to say we're going to stick with flush fitting magazines on both. Now, the Glock 26 will still have the same grip angle. The hump will hit you higher, whereas the M&P 9C, the grip will be the same as the full size. You know, you still get your interchangeable back straps right in the same place. So, you know, that might be something to look at. On the 26, you will still get plastic sights. You will still get the famous Glock block look to it, I guess. There will be a difference. You will have this bevel cut on the Glock 26. It won't be as pronounced as it is on the 9C, but it will still be there. So that might be, you know, they do put a little more detail into their 26 models. So, I mean, in that aspect, I would still say the Smith & Wesson would have the edge because of the detail and the steel sights. So that might be also something you want to look at. The biggest thing is, you know, when I was shopping for a carry gun, first thing I went for was the Glock 26 because, you know, me being a Glock guy, why not? I'll have a 17, a 19, a 26. All the magazines are interchangeable. Pretty much all the parts are interchangeable. So when I picked up the Smith & Wesson 9C and I started doing some comparing and contrasting between the two, right away, you know, I was drawn towards the Smith & Wesson. And the reason being was, you know, throughout the video I've been telling you, you know, the steel sights and the detail on the slide. The FDE color I absolutely loved, but the deal breaker for me was the round count, you know, the magazine capacity. In the 26, you will get 10 rounds in the magazine, 1 in the chamber, so a total of 11 rounds, versus the Smith & Wesson, where you get 12 rounds in the magazine and 1 in the chamber. And it's the same size gun. We're talking, you know, bottom of the mag well to the top of the slide is the same as the Glock 26, as well as the end of the barrel to the back of the slide is also the same. Same exact dimensions of the gun, but you're getting 2 extra rounds with the Smith & Wesson. So right away, that's a deal breaker. You get, you know, 13 rounds versus 11 in the 26. I mean, that right here, you're pretty much at the capacity of the Glock 19. The Glock 19 holds 15 in the magazine, 1 in the chamber, 16. So that's 3 less rounds you're getting, but in a smaller package. So right there was the deal breaker for me, was the round count, the color, and obviously everything else I've stated in the video. You know, the sights, the slide. The trigger I'm not too worried about. The Smith & Wesson's newer models, the trigger has been improved a little bit. You still get the gritty sound, the gritty feeling, but the break and the reset on it is actually a little bit better. The reset's a little bit better. Still pretty much non-existent, but, you know, a little bit better. And the break. The break is really nice on this one. I'm talking, it's almost as nice as the Glock out of the box. So that's pretty much why I chose the 9C over the Glock 26. You know, and, you know, like I said in the beginning of the video, no matter which pistol you guys choose, Glock or Smith & Wesson, you're getting a great pistol. They're both very reliable, both very durable. You know, both have the great track record, but, you know, some of those things I mentioned through the video might make you lean towards one or the other. I'm just here to tell you guys some information between the Glock and the Smith & Wesson, and why I chose, for a subcompact model, I chose the Smith & Wesson. I think beats the Glock, you know, all around. So that's about it, guys. If you liked the video, you know, like, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.